Hello, everyone, and welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson, channeling the man in the moon. Today, I'd like to look at two political topics. The first one is the Georgia investigation. I'm interested in seeing if that report is released to the public. I know Fani, and I mispronounced her name and said Fanny before. I think it's Fani Willis has requested that it not be made public because she doesn't want to bias any potential juries. I'm interested to know whether that will be released, and I also like to know what's in it. What kind of information? Second thing is on Santos. I want to see if he's going to get his comeuppance. So let's take a look, first of all, at at Georgia and Fani, right? One thing I'd like to point out is that just for people who are learning to channel, sometimes the people I see are symbolic, and sometimes they're literally that person. I'm still working on figuring out when it's a symbolic person. When does, the senator from Maine, when is she really the senator from Maine? Or does Susan Collins just like represent a more, centrist view, for example? So I'd just like you to know that this is just an interesting way to, notice my work, notice my mistakes, if you will, and notice how I do this. It is useful if you're learning. Okay, so let's get back to Georgia. I gotta just say, it's really amusing, just to fun. It's fun to see Fani, and I think this is literally her, but also figuratively her. She's just got her hands on her hips, and she's just sparkling. She looks like a movie star. She looks really confident and really just in her power. She's just sparkling, which I think is a really good sign. Okay, so let's ask, is this report going to be released? I'm getting an immediate no. I do see a judge and he's shaking his head. And it's almost like I'm being told, of course not. Even if there's a possibility that we would, even if it's possible that, one juror might be influenced by the media, then we should absolutely not do this. That would be given the choices, which is safer. And he's sort of actually interestingly showing me a pyramid, like, balance, like this is power here. There's no compelling reason to release that information, except that, of course, we'd all love to know what's in it. All right. And it's almost like he's saying to me, that's not my job. My job isn't to provide Dave Johnson with information he'd love to read. My job is to make sure that the trial is fair. Okay, now he's like nodding, like, yeah. All right, so nevertheless, what is in that report? What does it tell us? And Fani is now like raising and rolling her eyes and is like, wow, okay, there is really damning evidence in here. And the first has to do with Lindsey Graham. And Lindsey's on the run. That's like the first thing that I get. It's like Lindsey, almost like in a treadmill mill, sort of like fog, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, get me out of here. He's running from one place to another. It's like I get the impression he's lost his allies. Over the past few years, he has less and less. None of these Republicans trust each other. It's just a question of who is on top now, and they'll stab each other in the back if it saves their own skin. That's a product of Trump and Trumpism. So, what's in it about Lindsey? So it's like I see there's like a field and there's a diamond ring, and then there's Lindsay and he's like looking around and he steals it. It's like someone has lost something valuable and he's taken it and secretly, rather than turn it in and find out whose ring it was, and that rather than do that, it's like it's like that person who benefits from an opportunity. There is a chance to steal and get away with it, so they will do it. That's the ethics he has. That's the kind of person he is. But interesting, only if it's valuable. So he is savvy enough to look at that ring and go, oh, cubic zirconia, forget about it. Or, this is the real thing. Like, he knows value when he sees it. He knows an opportunity when he sees it. And that's the difference. That's why he did it, is that he saw an opportunity to get himself more power in this case. But then I'm seeing remorse. It's like somebody was in the bleachers, saw him pick up the ring, and went to the school principal and said, Lindsey's got it. I saw him pick it up. And so now he's kind of being like, oh, gosh, did I really need the ring? It's pretty, but do I really need it? This was a really bad mistake. Lindsey's in a lot of trouble. And I'm talking jail cell trouble. He looks very ashamed. He looks very afraid. The implications of what's going on. It's not just, it's fear, but there's also a huge dose of humiliation. He's the kind of guy who puts sugar on his ice cream. It's like this, like he wants as much luxury out of something as he can possibly gain. The luxuries that you and I, would enjoy aren't enough. So, it's just the idea of going to prison and being deprived is very concerning to him. And he is very worried about this prison. He's very worried about how the others will treat him. And he knows he will need major security should he go to prison. hmm It's it's sad to say that he's just become a very superficial person. The suit that he's wearing is useful just because it's presented to others. Like, here I am in my expensive suit, I'm important. Whereas if you change that to the, um, you know, whatever prisoners wear, that's like a sign of humiliation. And it just, again, it's sad to say how superficial he has become, and that he gave up his soul just for what other people will think about him. Now, what else is in there? Huh. This is interesting. It's obviously Trump, and I'm seeing like a winged bird. And a long time ago, I thought Trump will try to escape. I'm. This is kind of alluding to that, but it's like winged bird, like a white bird. It's Yeah. He's kind of looking behind him, and um, on the wings of the bird, trying to get away to an island. So this could be symbolic of a lot of things. Spirit, can you tell me a little bit more about what's happening? Okay, so Trump believes he will go to jail. He is not saying that, but he truly believes that this will happen. That's one reason why he stole the documents, is to use them to blackmail the government into not jailing him. So he's really afraid, and he's considering all the methods of escape. And it's just skyrocketing outrage, that it's like, who is this black woman to take me down? It's not possible. How dare she? It's like making him even more angry, that it's not a white male who's rich. It's he's almost like if they were white male and rich, they'd be they'd be on my team a little bit. They'd be, oh yeah, let it pass. Oh yeah, so what if you tried to overturn the election? Oh yeah, we'll give you a break. But the fact that she's being really direct about this is so much to her credit, and really quite satisfying. It's sort of like Blasey Ford fights back. It's just got this real energy of a sophisticated, smart woman who is able to come forward. Right? I really think that she's an important symbol for all of us who are not necessarily in the majority, who are being true and who are smart and who are presenting well evidence and facts. There's something about his daughter, Ivanka, something about his daughter. She looks very sad and she's kind of biting her nails. It's like, again, I don't know if this is symbolic or really her. It seems like it could be really her. Like there's something maybe she's said, there's some interview that has taken place. There are some situation where she had to tell the truth or face the consequences. And or maybe the opposite. Maybe she didn't tell the truth and she's nervous that it's going to come out. But she's really, it's like she has these long fingernails and she's kind of biting them. Just really, really nervous. She's looking behind her. She's looking at Jared, who's not helpful. She doesn't actually know what to do. It's just a feeling of impending doom. And as it gets closer and closer, she's becoming more and more nervous. It might be that there's something in this report that involves Jared too. That's making her even more nervous. Aha. And I note that Jared Kushner got a lot of money from Saudi Arabia. Mysteriously, they put him in charge of, $83 billion or something. And, he doesn't have the qualifications to invest that money. He has no experience doing that. And it's pretty much a bribe, right? He overlooked Khashoggi and they just gave him some money. But that's interesting. I've always wondered if Trump would escape perhaps to Saudi Arabia, and now there's this Saudi Arabian sort of layer throughout the family. These things could be symbolic, but they feel like real fears. Certainly, Trump's is a real fear. Yeah, okay. That bird now is a fish. It's like the bird is attracted to the fish, I should say that, and that he's like the bird is, instead of flying to the island, it's now swooping to catch the fish. So it's sort of like, Trump might try this or he might be considering leaving, but he's not going to be successful. Other people involved, somebody has to fly the plane. They have their own priorities. They don't want to go to prison, so they don't want to live in Saudi Arabia for the rest of their lives. So, these are all considerations. I'm not going to say now that Trump will try to escape. I think that he's thinking about it, and there are so many difficulties and problems that he's getting worried. What else are you doing, Trump? He's showing me four fingers. I don't know what that means. He's showing me now a class ring. Getting lots of rings today. Class ring, and the class ring is just like one of those bulky gold rings with a big red stone in it, and it's like class ring. So class, not 12th grade, but my class. My class is protected. and that's what he's trying to emulate, is this class of people that is protected. This is also one reason why, rational people are really angry, because there's a different law for him. You and I couldn't take documents and keep them in our house for years and get away with it. He intentionally did that. So why are the laws different for him and for us? And why didn't Garland get on this a year ago, before there could be any Biden scandal? Why did he not take care of this business? It's just, they're always worried about what people think. The judiciary is not supposed to do things based on popular opinion, based on the law. So I'm not happy with Garland personally. Let's move on to George Santos. Yeah, sometimes I forget his first name, but you know who I mean. So Santos. So one thing you need to know about Santos is it's just been revealed that he's a drag queen, and this is like rings day, because he's got rings on every finger, but he's taking them all off and like hiding the costumes and showing up. It's just a grift. It's all about money. This man is just not interested in any kind of truth or ethics or leadership. He's just there to. It's just a grift. And it's sort of a thing where at a young age, this is how he figured out how to survive. That, a poor kid who's, not very, manly in terms of the places that he's lived. He's figured out that the way to go about things is to be sneaky. So will he face comeuppance? Okay, it's a little bit ambiguous. I'll just tell you, the first thing I saw was the prison, but then he's opening the prison door, so he's not in the prison and there's light. But I feel like there's another space that awaits him, and it feels like Brazil. And it feels like now I'm almost getting like the Brazilians going, come on, come on. And, believe me, like at this point, the Republicans would be happy to get rid of him. He's just attracting lots of scandal. So I can see that he is Scandal, Mr. Scandal. They're like, yeah, take him, just get him out of here. We don't even care if we replace him with a Republican or a Democrat. Just get him out of here. He's like a lightning rod for problems. So, Spirit, is Santos going to be extradited to Brazil? I'm seeing Lula. I think it's Lula, the president of Brazil, smiling. Interestingly enough, he's got a big gold tooth. So it's almost like I found gold, Yeah. And to understand is very much in his political interests to follow up on these, people who break the law. He has to be perceived as fair, but also he wants to be able to work with the United States. And if he's not a dictator, then that's more likely. He wants to be above board, and that would mean prosecuting people regardless of their status or where they are living. So, Lula, are you going to manage it? Are you going to be able to do it? He shows me scales of justice, and he's kind of saying, "Look, it's not up to me. I am separate from the judiciary. It's up to the judiciary." And I'm going to take a look at the judiciary, and I'm getting that in Brazil. Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I see 3 judges. Just like it's less jury based. That's my feeling. And I don't know anything about Brazil. Although I'd love to go, I don't know anything about it. But these three people, these three judges, are looking very serious. And the case seems obvious to them. Like, here are the scales. One of the scales is just totally, right? And they're like, in a way, it's a great example for the United States. If it's a crime, it's a crime. It doesn't matter who you are. If you do the crime, you gotta do the time. That's just it. And they're almost like kind of giving me the impression that they want to reestablish them as a fair unit. Now, it was the judiciary was quite corrupt before. It put Lula for virtually nothing, right? It was complete, fabrication. There wasn't any evidence. It was totally political. And they're interested in proving that they are now a legitimate body. So it's a little bit odd because it's almost like they're an example for the United States. Yeah, I'm seeing Santos now, and he seems to have cuffs. He's getting in a plane. Yeah, and he's very worried about prison. Yeah, if you've ever seen anything about Brazilian prisons, they are really gnarly. So he's very, very worried about this. And I feel like I see him in that plane with the cuffs, and I get political obscurity. Once he's there, no one's going to care about him or what he is. And actually, the Republicans will be relieved. We don't have to put him on any more committees. We don't have to defend his actions. We don't have to comment on that stuff. It's like all we have is, Jewish space lasers to deal with now. At least we got one fire out, even though we didn't get all of them. I hope all of you notice that these terrible characters, these terrible political characters, they really are all lessons for us. If they were doing what they were doing years ago, now decades ago, they were doing terrible things. Maybe not quite as terrible, but terrible, right? The Vietnam War was a terrible thing, and they got away with it because they were not so obvious, or they had some cover, or they were able to keep things discreet, or the characters who were doing it were more discreet or had some positive qualities. The fact that these terrible people are coming out and they're just overt, they have no shame, is really kind of testing all of us. It's like that person who pushes your line and pushes you and pushes you and pushes you until you finally explode and say, no, I'm not tolerating this behavior anymore. So I hope you all note that there's a silver lining here, and that, we are really learning what we need to know at this time. It doesn't necessarily have to be a physical put you in prison final, we're done. It has to be more about all of us just looking at the situation and learning the things, be patient, but assertive. Look at Fani Willis and, understand that she's all of us. She is the moving forward. She is the, little David against a giant Goliath. There are many positive things to notice. Also, really notice your own changes in your life and how you are approaching this stuff. All right. Thanks so much for watching.